Hi, this is Jesse Liberty from Microsoft. This is the first in our series of Getting Started with Programming Silverlight. And to begin, we want to install and set up our Silverlight development environment. So let's navigate to silverlight.net. And the very first thing we need to do is make sure that Silverlight is installed. Click on Showcase. That'll bring you to our Showcase applications. And you'll notice that if you don't have Silverlight installed, you'll be informed of that immediately and offered the opportunity to download Silverlight. And this is very much the experience that users will have. The installation is very quick. It's about a 20-second installation. They do have the opportunity to look at detailed instructions, but all they really need to do is click on Install Now. And then click on Run. If you're running Vista, you will need to give permission. And then they will see a progress bar of the installation. Once Silverlight itself is installed, the Showcase page will come up with all of our Showcase applications, and you can see that makes for quite a dramatic difference in the appearance of the page. Rather than sorting through this, let's move on by returning to the home page. The home page provides you with a great deal of information, including links back to the Showcase, to our learning page and community page. But for getting started with developing in Silverlight, we're going to click on the Get Started page, and that will bring you to the various downloads that you require in order to run and to develop for Silverlight 1.0. The very first thing you're going to want to do is to download the runtime for Microsoft Silverlight 1.0. You may want to download both the Mac and the Windows version. You're then going to want to download and install Microsoft Visual Studio 2008. Some of the tools that we use for developing with Silverlight 1.0, and especially with the 1.1 alpha and the 2.0 versions of Silverlight, do require that you use the standard professional or team system editions of Visual Studio 2008, although you certainly can develop Silverlight applications using the free Express version. So we recommend that you download Visual Studio 2008, and then also, if you're going to be developing for the 1.1 alpha or moving into 2.0, you're going to want the Silverlight tools for Visual Studio 2008, and you may very well want to download the ASP.NET Futures. In addition, you may want to download some of the designer tools while they're in preview. Typically, you would want to use Expression Blend and Expression Encoder. Those would be the two most common for a Silverlight developer. We also provide the Microsoft Silverlight 1.0 SDK, and that would be essential to your development effort. You're going to want to download all of those, and in fact you're going to want to install them in the order in which you downloaded them. We've already installed Silverlight itself, so that's the runtime on Windows. So the next thing we're going to want to do is install Visual Studio 2008, then install the tools for Visual Studio 2008, any designer tools you might want to install, and the SDK. Once all of this is installed and you open Visual Studio 2008, what you will find is that if you click on Create Project, a template will come up that will include Silverlight Class Library, Silverlight Project, and for 1.0 the template that you want, which is Silverlight JavaScript Application. Let me show you where that's located. If you open up your browser and you go to your Documents and scroll down to Visual Studio 2008, you will find a folder called Templates. Within that folder, there are project templates, and if you look under Visual C#, you will find a directory has been installed by the SDK called Silverlight, inside of which is a zip folder, and it is inside this zip folder that the 1.0 JavaScript application template resides. If you create a new Silverlight 1.0 application using this template, Visual Studio 2008 will do a number of things for you. It will create the environment in which you can build your application, and it will also add a number of essential files for you. The first thing to notice is that the design surface is intentionally left blank. In 1.0, the design surface is not used and is not usable, unfortunately, so what we're going to do is we're going to use the swap panes to move the XAML, and we'll be discussing what XAML is in the future videos on getting started, but this is essentially the markup language for Silverlight. We're going to move that to the top panel and then expand that top panel. We're going to close the output window so that this now takes up the entire body. You'll notice that there are a number of squiggly lines. That's an artifact of the transition to using Silverlight and can safely be ignored. However, if we look over at the Solution Explorer, we'll see that Visual Studio has created a starter application that consists of 5 essential files. Default.html, which sets up our Silverlight application, gives the title page a title, includes script files that we need, and creates the Silverlight control. All of this will be going into detail in a future video. In default.html.js, we create the Silverlight control itself, and once again the details we'll go into in a future video, but essentially all of this work is done for you. The scene.xaml, that's our basic XAML file, and in here we have quite a bit of XAML, and we'll talk about what that does, and the event handling JavaScript file for handling events such as mouse enter and mouse down, and the appropriate Silverlight.js, which does all of the work of determining whether the browser that is looking at your application has Silverlight installed, and if not, offers the user to download and install Silverlight. And if the browser does have Silverlight installed, it does the appropriate setup depending on which browser on which platform. This initial starter application is actually functional, and we can hit Control F5. You'll see that it will compile and build and run inside a browser, and it shows a button that says click me, and if you hover over it, it changes, and if you click on it, it brings up a validating window. This will work both in Windows IE and also in Firefox. And here I've brought up a Firefox browser, and you can see that if I hover over the button, I get the same response, and if I click on it, I get, in fact, a dialog box that validates the click. This will also run equally well on the Mac. So once again, to review, all of the files that you need to get yourself started and to begin programming with Silverlight are on the Silverlight.net website on the Getting Started tab. In future videos, we'll take a close look at how to begin programming by creating the XAML for yourself to create shapes and animation, to respond to events, and to go beyond that to create robust applications that take advantage of media and beyond. This is Jesse Liberty from Microsoft. Thank you very much. I look forward to talking with you again soon.